Hey YouTube, this is Nezarek, and today we're going to be talking about Khabib versus Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier, he's the current UFC champion, and Khabib was on an injury, and he's coming back for the title. So, what's my prediction? The short of it, Khabib wins second round TKO. Dustin's either asleep or wait, TKO or submission. I kind of, from what I've seen, I feel like it's going to be a TKO. Dustin's okay. So I just want to make a few points real quick. This whole fight feels like a UFC hype job. Like I don't think Dustin Poirier stands a chance against Khabib at all. Okay, Khabib is a completely different fighter who coincidentally is like the antithesis of what Dustin Poirier needs to win and finish a fight. I watched the fifth, the worst of his top five knockouts for top five finishes for Dustin Poirier, and literally it was like literally this dude was punching over and over, hitting this guy over and over again. I saw him fight Frankie Edgar. One of the few fights that I saw online that were free was I forgot who he was fighting. But basically, Keith, whatever his name is, basically, man, he hit this guy over and over again. The fight lasted 23 minutes. And if you really think about it, how many fights has Khabib had that lasted 15 minutes, 23 minutes? That means that you're not a good finisher, okay? So that means that, God, my freaking ceiling fan's making my light play around too much. Anyway, basically, that's one of those situations to where, you kind of have a hit at how much power this fighter really has. And I don't think Dustin Poirier stacks up against Khabib. I feel like if you want to beat Khabib, you gotta beat Khabib, dude. Khabib to me is not the Evander Holyfield. Yeah, maybe the Marvin Hagler of MMA, to where he's just gonna come in and maul your ass, and he's gonna keep mauling you until you freaking submit. And Dustin Poirier seems like he wants to kind of get out there and dance with you, and Khabib ain't about that, man. He ain't about that life. He's about getting in there, getting dirty, getting bloody, and getting the job done. He's willing to eat a punch. He's willing to he's willing to do what it takes to get the job done. Not only that, stand-up wise, which is supposed to be Dustin Poirier's strength, his strong suit, is supposed to be what makes him viable against a fighter like Khabib. His stand-up ain't that good. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, if your top five finishes isn't you just knocking a MF out, just laying that full out, what's a good example? I'm trying to think of a good example of like a great knockout. Anderson Silva. I hate to go right back to Anderson Silva, but the way that Anderson Silva finished Chris Lieben, if that's not your fifth knockout like that, to where you just have it like that, to where you just have that kind of power, that kind of precision, that kind of talent, you're not beating Khabib. Okay? I'm sorry. Like, and I'm not going to say that Dustin can't win. I mean, he can. I mean, he has a puncher's chance. It is the UFC. These are 4-ounce gloves. I mean, there's a number of things that this guy could use to his advantage to win, but they all hinge on him having a legendary level of takedown defense. Okay, like Chuck Liddell, dude. Chuck Liddell had a legendary level of takedown defense. He was probably one of the hardest guys to take down in the UFC. And that, ironically, was thanks to Quentin Rampage Jackson beating him unconscious in the ring to where his ring threw in the towel. Okay, that's why Chuck Liddell didn't get taken down after that ever again, and that's why he started finishing people. Dustin doesn't have that kind of takedown defense. And granted, I saw a lot of his fights, not a lot of his fights, the fights of his that I did see, he was standing, but realistically, I didn't see people repeatedly going for that shot. And that's what you have to do. You have to play to your strengths, and I don't think he has the talent to get Khabib off of his game to where he's not going to go for the takedown. Like Khabib said it, man, I'm going to maul this guy like I do everybody else, and I believe him. He's going to go in there, he's going to maul this guy, and unless unless Dustin Poirier is taking, he's literally dealing with fighters that are bigger, stronger, and top of their game for their weight class. So I'd say Josh Koscheck, DC, freaking who else? Chael Sonnen. I'm trying to think of another like really good wrestler right now. You could probably think of a good wrestler right now more so than I can because I haven't been in the UFC for quite some time. I watch Axes. I watch a lot of different MMA organizations, but yeah, man, like unless he's able to literally stuff Josh Koscheck, who has one of the best shots still in the UFC. This dude's just, he's meat, he's ground beef, and freaking the pit bull's gonna come in here and have a meal. And I hate to say it like that because I don't want to, I never want to count someone out. I never, like, I'll root for Dustin Poirier because I don't really have a dog in this fight, but realistically, Dustin's the underdog. He's the champ, but he's the underdog. Don't fool yourself into thinking this guy stands a chance, alright? Don't fool yourself, people. Dustin Poirier, unless he has the best takedown artist training him all the time, 6 days a week, to literally try to take him down and, stopping it, stuffing takedowns that, he wouldn't otherwise be able to stop from bigger fighters, he's not going to stand a chance against Khabib, alright? And once it's on the ground, it's a one-horse show. Sorry. I mean, I hate to put it that way, but that's the reality of the world, man. Especially when Dustin can't finish people quickly in his own element, which means that he's lacking the power to be a real threat to Khabib, okay? Michael Williamson was the last guy I saw Khabib fight, and Michael Williamson actually saw him make a lot of mistakes in that fight to where it would have been better if he had more talent. Like, he kind of stayed in a few places I felt that he could have got out of, or he could have rolled, or he could have did X, Y, Z. But when you got somebody on top of you like that, ready to punch you in the face, I feel like, you're putting yourself in a situation, you're always risking something by trying to better your position, but like you can't be scared. And I think Khabib puts the fear in people. So my prediction, second round, Khabib wins. I think the first round he's going to go out there, try to see what Dustin Poirier has. Oh, that's another thing. Khabib's stand-up is, in my opinion, just as good as Dustin Poirier. He doesn't throw as many punches, but when he throws punches, they matter, okay? And that matters more than how many punches you throw. If you could throw punches all day, but you're throwing against people's arms, you have no good mix-up, you're not freaking... If you can't deliver a liver shot and make someone scared of it, you have no chance against Khabib, okay? That's another thing I'd like to put out there. Oh, and I never see the guy throw any kicks. So over and over again, he's just putting himself he's just going to put himself in a worse situation and in a worse situation and in a worse situation until Khabib just gets what he wants, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Khabib knocks this guy out, but that's not his style, okay? I say TKO, Khabib on top, pounded on this dude in the second round. If not, freaking submission before the end of the second round. And I think that Khabib's going to come out and probably, with maybe less than 2 minutes left, because he's probably going to start pretty early, and Dustin, depending on how good his defensive, that's giving him a lot. Depending on how good his takedown defense is and how well he can hold his own on the ground, freaking, I don't see anything happening besides Khabib knocking this dude out or taking him down and beating him until he wished he was knocked out. It's a grown man versus a little boy. And I hate to say that, Dustin, because I don't have any ill will toward you or even Khabib. I'm not really a fan of Khabib's either. But I do know talent when I see it, man. That dude cares. He cares more than you do, okay? You yell Khabib, you're getting him. And honestly, the only way I'd fight Khabib is if that fool was in a straitjacket. Alright? If it was for $1 million, they put Khabib in a straitjacket, and, I had to use 16-ounce gloves, I'm down. But even then, I'd have to be like, no headbutting. It's another rule, because he might still knock your ass out with the headbutt. Anyway, this is Nezarek. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and subscribe. Once Khabib wins, come back and throw me a like, cause this is I don't know. I feel like the UFC. This was a great year for UFC, but at the same time, I feel like this is one of those fights that they're just trying to make a buck on, man. Like this isn't even a fight. I don't feel like Khabib should be fighting Dustin Poirier yet. I feel like somebody else out there is better than Dustin Poirier. No offense, Dustin, but somebody out there is better than Dustin Poirier, and they're gonna be they're gonna be there to freaking beat him for his rematch, and they're gonna be the one fighting Khabib. So that's two predictions in one video. Value, right? But yeah, watch. Like, Dustin Poirier is gonna lose. Then he's gonna fight somebody else. That person's probably gonna knock him out. And then that person's gonna fight Khabib, and it's probably still not stack up. Okay, so one more thing. One more thing. Here's the wild card portion of this whole video, because it is still MMA, and there is that element. Dustin Poirier, if he does win, or if he had the talent to win, this is what he'd have to do as far as training, which is like I said, wrestle really, 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 really good larger men, okay, and defend shots, defend high crotch grabs, defend double underhooks. He needs to be at a point to where this is just programmed in his psyche how to defend against a takedown. B, he needs to be so aggressive. He needs to have that integrated into his striking game, okay? To the point to where right when he walks out the cage, no high-fiving, no freaking fist pumps, no doing a circle. No, the bell rings, you go after that fucker. That's the only way you're beating Khabib, dude, is to be more vicious than he is, because it's really it's a lot of mental there's a lot of mental there's a lot of mental I don't want to say power, but there's a lot of mental chess that goes into how a fighter uses his technique. And if you want to stop Khabib from taking you down, you have to hurt him, okay, when he tries to take you down. And not kind of hurt him. You have to hurt him to where he's scared to take you down. And I don't think that Dustin Poirier can do that, okay? Somebody like Anderson Silva, I feel like if Khabib was fighting somebody like Anderson Silva could throw a knee in the clinch after stuffing a takedown and make him think, I don't want to get taken down by this guy again. And that's another thing too. Khabib has a weak body. Body shots is the only way you're gonna soften that guy up. So instead of him jumping on top of you and punching on you and beating the crap out of you, you need to be able to stuff the takedown and still throw Stipe-esque type body shots like how you did with DC, and be able to land those shots repeatedly and make him think, hey, I can't stand here, I'm going to shoot, and be prepared for the shot. Like I said, it needs to be programmed into his game. Lastly, power. Dustin Poirier doesn't have the power. I'm sorry. He doesn't have the power to freaking beat Khabib. You need to have the type of power to where if Khabib blocks the shot, the punch that you're throwing, it needs to be able to knock him off balance to where he can't counter with a shot. He can't counter with going for a takedown afterward. You need to be able to hit him hard enough to where he's off balance and you can still set up more punches afterward. And again, in the lightweight division, that's hard to do. And not only that, Dustin Poirier, I'm not sure how big the guy is, but realistically, he don't got that kind of power. Especially if he fought Frankie Edgar, who could have took multiple shots at him and didn't take any of those shots. You're not beating Khabib, because Khabib's going to take those shots and he's going to use that one takedown to make you suffer for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and he's going to hurt you the entire time. You're just going to be trying to survive. So unless Dustin Poirier has some magical BJJ moves, this is in the bag for Khabib. I'm sorry. Again, if you like this video, give me a like, give me a subscribe. This is Nazarek. Deuces.